Um, you know, in the last like 15 minutes of this episode, I felt like editing gave us so many options. It was like mind blowing, but in the end, it just seemed a lot more obvious than what it was. So, spoiler alert: turn this off if you haven't heard. Emily was voted off. Okay, so before I get into the episode, let me say that I these live streams have been a lot of fun for me. I've really enjoyed it. It's something different. I've never done this before. Normally, I vlog. I do a weekly vlog. I really love those, and I haven't been able to lately because of Survivor. So I don't know. Next season will be in February. I'm either gonna do one or two things. I'm either gonna like crap and get off the pot and just stick to my vlogs, which are a ton of fun. If you guys haven't watched any of my vlogs, go to on this YouTube channel. Go back before I start doing the Survivor stuff. They're a lot of fun. I really enjoy that. If I do this again in February, um, I think it's like go hard or go home, right? So I'll probably do like I want to have one guest from Survivor every season, and maybe like two co-hosts. And the two people I like the most, I've had some great people on here. I've had a lot of fun, but like there's a Facebook group. It's the largest Facebook group, Survivor Facebook group, and I met two people in there. Josh, I'd kind of known in that group for a while, and then the creator Robin. I can talk to those 2 forever, all day about Survivor. It's just like at some point, like we just have to like tell each other like stop talking because we'll just talk forever. And I really, really, what's up, Sebastian? I really, really, really like doing that. But on YouTube, you can only do live with me and one other person. And by the way, the link's on here. If anybody wants to join me live, we can go through this episode together. Originally, I had Papa Bear on here with me tonight, but he didn't actually say why, but he had to cancel. He said he'll join me next week. And then I'm hoping Sandy from Survivor had canceled on me like maybe 2 weeks ago, and I think she was going to come back hopefully in 2 weeks. I don't know. I've had some dumb luck. I mean, like, I think it was like 8 out of 11 people that I've had guests that I've had on here have canceled on me either the day of or the day before. I'm not mad at anybody or anything like that. We all have plenty of commitments in life, and I really believe that like the most valuable thing we have is time. So I'm always honored that anyone will give me their time, and I'm honored that you guys are as well. Sebastian said, "I remember I watched you when I was 22 on Extreme Cheapskates. I've been following your content ever since. You're hilarious." Thanks, Sebastian. I appreciate that. So, yeah, I did a reality show. My God, if you were 22 back then Sebastian, you must be 32 or 34 by now because it's been a long time. I've done between reality shows. Let's talk about that for a second before we get into the episode. And by the way, there's a link if anybody wants to join me because my guest had canceled, and I thought, I'll just do the thing by myself. But I'll put the link out there if somebody wants to join me. Great. Um, so I I had never before I walked across the country to drop off my Survivor application. I had never done any kind of TV or anything. I didn't care. It just didn't matter to me. And then when I walked across the country to drop off my Survivor tape, it created a bug. Sebastian, then the episode's like 10 years old. So you would have been like 7 15 or 16 when it first came out. Um Give me a second and I'll see if I can send the link over here because there should be a link on. I posted it in a bunch of different Survivor groups, but I guess I didn't post it specifically on this page. So anyway, I had when I was 25, walked across the country, drove off my Survivor tape, and I got bit by the entertainment bug, I guess you could say. I really enjoyed it. I mean, back then it was like YouTube really wasn't a thing, but it was really neat. And then I didn't hear anything. Survivor casting told me I was too nice, not greedy enough, don't have what it takes to outwit anyone. Brutal, right? It haunted me. And as luck would have it, Brandon Hans, Russell Hans's nephew, who was on the show, both of them were on the show. He had heard about my walk. He invited me out to the live finale, and so I went out to the live finale. And when I was there, I talked to Russell for a couple hours while we were waiting on Brandon. He had a bunch of interviews and crap. And he said, Greg, he's like, you have such a big personality. Why don't you do other shows? And I was like, well, I just don't care about other shows. And I don't want to do other shows and then risk my chance of getting on Survivor. He's like, they don't care if you do other shows. I was like, really? Because at the time he was doing like enhanced reality, like some building show or something like that with his brother. He was doing all kinds of crap. And so I took Russell Hand's advice and I started doing other shows. From 2000 and probably 11 to maybe 2014, somewhere around there, I did like 20 reality shows. I did you name it and I did it. I really didn't care. I would have I had a lot of fun doing it. It was a lot of fun. And then I met back up with Lynn and casting, and she said, "Greg, stop doing these stupid reality shows. We're never going to put you on the show." I was like, "Well, Russell said you guys don't care if I do other shows," and she was like, "Russell don't know what he's talking about." I was like, "All right, fine." So I stopped doing reality TV back in like 2000, maybe 15 ish. And I started doing TV and movies instead. So I would do like extra work in movies. I was killed in Fast and Furious 7. I was a peacekeeper in Hunger Games. Like I was in Dirty Grandpa. I was in Insurgent, Divergent, Allegiant. I did a lot of really big movies, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that too. And that's kind of what got me kind of started in just this stuff in general. So, Sebastian, before I send you the link, did you watch the show tonight? Did you watch Survivor? It's kind of important because if we're going to talk about Survivor, I want to make sure you at least saw the episode tonight. If not, let me go through it and then I'll bring you on and we can talk. Um, so that was kind of my journey that brought me here. So if I do this again in February for next season, season 46, I would want to try to bring four people on. I would want to have like Josh and Robin as co-hosts because I love talking Survivor with them. And then each week I would want to have like a somebody that was on Survivor on just so you got to I think it'd be a fun dynamic. But unfortunately on YouTube you can't you can't have more than two people. You can only have one uh or two you can only have two people basically when you go live. So I did find another streaming thing. It's like a duck. I can't think of what it's called. Live stream or something like whatever. And you can have I think up to like six people, but more than four and just too many people talking at the same time, I don't think it would go very well. Um Sebastian said, "No, I hate Survivor with a passion. I want to talk to you about your time on Extreme Cheapskates and everything else I saw you in. I like the TV show Amazing Race." Oh, yeah, yeah. So Amazing Race is the same casting director as Survivor back in the day. Now I don't know. I really don't know who does it. Um, no, I'm not mad that you hate Survivor. I promise. In fact, it's so funny to me whenever I tell people the lengths I've gone to get on Survivor to try to get 5 minutes of Jeff Probst's time. They're always like, "Really for Survivor? Why Survivor? I didn't even know that show was still on." Blah blah blah. And it's like, well, truthfully, I wish it was anything other than Survivor. But when I was walking around the middle school track back in oh 05, oh 06, no, summer of '05, I was walking around the middle school track with Megan, and that's when we had that conversation. I was like, "What's the craziest thing I could do to get on Survivor?" She's like, "Walk across America, drop off your tape." And it was just a joke, but unfortunately, she passed away. She was only 19. She had a brain aneurysm. October 28th, 2006, she passed away. I was like, "Oh my God, now I have to do this." So, getting on Survivor for a while has had very little to do with Survivor. And people don't really understand that. And I don't expect people to understand that, but I just need closure. You know what I mean? I just need closure. Sebastian, let me recap the episode and then I'll send you the link and then we'll go live and we'll talk about Extreme Cheapskates. Is that cool? Can you hang out for maybe like I'll get through this in maybe like 15, 20 minutes, something like that. So they open the episode up and uh they show Emily getting props for getting rid of Bruce, and that's elevated her threat level. And my initial thought was editing's not going to trick me this time. There's no way Emily's going home. They wouldn't show her, uh they wouldn't, mislead us. Editing would never do that. And if you watch the show, Emily did go home. But anyway, I did not think Emily was going home this episode. I really didn't. She had such a good story. Everything seemed to favor her. The underdog, the amount of time she's getting on the camera, her alliances. It just felt I it's easy to predict a winner halfway through the season because half the people are gone. But I really thought that was going to be our winner. I thought, man, this is like it seemed so perfect. You know what I mean? It seemed like the perfect story. So I was shocked that she went home, even though in the very first scene of this episode, they show how Emily's a bigger threat and, props. Julie was giving her props for getting rid of Bruce. She couldn't believe that she masterminded that. And Emily even said that herself. She's like, I'm putting a target on my back. And I don't know, maybe she shouldn't have owned that move in front of everybody, or at least so soon. But for me, I think one of the strangest things that they seem to pull off this episode was this Austin and Dee romance that none of us saw coming. Nobody saw that. It's like they've been out there for what, 22 days, I believe, or 21 days. In 21 days, I guarantee you there's plenty of footage that would have let us know, like, hey, there's a showmance going on right now between those two. But cast or editing did not give us any of that. They kept us in the complete dark, which is why we don't always guess the winner of Survivor every year, because they do such a good job tricking us. Um, Sherry said Austin messed up this week. Yeah, yeah, we'll get into that. So, they're showing the flashbacks of Rob and Amber, and there's all this foreshadowing of Austin and Dee and their romance, even though they never showed us anything. But the bigger thing here could be the final three. Now, this Reba 4 has been so tight for so long, but there's been one thing that's been consistent, and that is Emily, Dee, Austin all saying they're each other's number ones, right? Drew's somewhere in there, but not as number one as the number ones, if that makes sense. And if those three, it just feels like they're giving us the final. It's going to be Julie, Dee, and Austin, unless they get their heads out of their butts. They are all playing this. I love these people. They're my best friends. I could never write their name down. And thus far, they've been totally true to each other. And they kind of alluded to, Dee said in her final interview there that, oh, well, at some point we're going to have to, turn on each other. It's like, I don't see that happening. If Julie couldn't turn on Austin tonight, she's never going to turn. She had every reason in the world to turn on him, and still didn't, because she's being controlled by Dee. I don't, and after this whole showmance thing, I see the winner is either Dee or Austin in the final three. Mama J, I don't know why they think she's going to get so many votes, because everyone likes her. At the end of the day, players respect players, and I just they haven't shown me, at least, anything that would lead me to believe that she's playing this game. It's like she's riding Dee's coattails almost. So I don't know how they're going to get rid of Drew, but that just seems to be, at this point, the four Reba. How could they not pick off who's left? My God, Katura, Emily just left. Katura and I said Kendra. Katura, sorry. Um, and Jake. Sorry, Katura and Jake. So how could they not get rid of those two? But if they're sticking with this Reba thing, but if they were smart, oh my God, they would take either of them with them. Jake is not going to receive one jury vote. You would be crazy not to take Jake to the final three. You'd be absolutely crazy not to. And Katura probably doesn't have any jury votes either. So the Reba four, they've got to wise up here. It's interesting how strong their bond is. I mean, I didn't see that coming. That's for sure. Once again, they show Jake being completely clueless. Now he's going to start playing the game. He's been saying that for 11 episodes, guys. When is he going to start playing the game? When is he going to realize that he's in a game? He said that himself. He doesn't realize that he's even playing. I just, poor Jake. I feel bad for the guy. I hope he does play. I hope he does make a move. I hope somebody does trust him with some power, because he poor Jake. So he tells Katura that he's a lawyer. Katura is a lawyer, and Mama D, who I don't believe has told anybody this, is also a lawyer, right? So Katura definitely hasn't told anybody. Now, if you remember, she got the letter from home um, last week or the week before, and in the letter, one of the letters from home was from her mom, and she said, "I can't read this. I haven't talked to her in years." But they didn't really lead any more into that, and we were all wondering, like, why hasn't she talked to her mom in years? Like, why is that? Um, Sherry says Drew needs to team up with Jake and Kathy's and he may win. Drew needs to team up with Jake. Yeah, anybody needs to team up with Jake. Anybody needs to team up with Jake and Couture at this point, because anybody in that Reba 4 is going to win. Emily even said it when she got voted off tonight. She was walking away. I'm going to vote for the best player. Who do you think Emily thinks is the best player? Just saying. Just saying. So We got the letters last week, and they didn't allude to why or what happened with Katura. So there's kind of an uneasy feeling there, like what Katura would not open her mom's letter. She wasn't ready for that. And I gave you my backstory. I can relate with that. I was estranged from my mom for 10 years. Unconditional love and forgiveness are two of life's greatest gifts. I hope everyone has that gift with the gift of time that they can exercise that. It doesn't come easy. Forgiveness is not something you can fake. It just takes time, right? And I hope she gets that time. Then she goes into this dreamlike sequence, and she says religion is why I was taken out of school or taken from my family, or my family was taken from me and everything because of religion and a cult. And I'm like, wait, huh? You just like, as much as Survivor is gender conscious these days, and all the other the wokeisms that we hear about, as much as they have been socially aware, I was shocked that they cast somebody that has a religious cult backstory. um the more they told that story, the more I saw, oh, well, this is clearly why Katura got cast. Because prior to this whole scene here, I just didn't see why they cast Katura. There just didn't seem to be anything intriguing about her. Well, boy, did they not tell us everything. She says she's a black, poor, gay woman, and I'm like, wow, okay. And she was almost married to her cult leader, and that's what woke her mom up to be like, look, we got to get out of this cult. Well, I can see why she hasn't talked to her mom in a few years. That's kind of a big deal, don't you think? Um, I just couldn't believe it. We're 11 episodes in, and we're just now hearing this story. This story would have been perfect for the loved one visit letter. So they're going on and on about her backstory, and I'm like, well, now I see why she was cast. And I thought, wow, she is for sure going home tonight. How many times have we seen survivors sneak someone's backstory in because they're going home that night and they got to get it out? That's exactly what I thought was happening. Even though it didn't seem like there was a path for Couture to go home tonight, I was sure that something was going to happen and it was going to be a wild card. But to her credit, she's still in the game, and boy, does she have a backstory. Holy moly. She was almost married to a religious cult leader. That's why she wasn't in school. And because of that, that's what empowered her to want to further her education, because she missed, I don't know how many years of education, picked right back up at her age, which would have been high school at 14, and turned into an attorney. That's incredible. That's an incredible story. Um, that really threw me through a loop. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. So then they show the boat coming up, and they always know that it means that there's a potential advantage on the line with getting in that vote. And I like the drawing rocks thing. I actually like that. And the rock goes to Emily. I think it was a green rock. She picked it, so she got to go out there. I could not help but cringe when she turned down the advantage. I can't think of too many episodes ever where someone has not tried for the advantage. But I also can't think of too many episodes where if you lose the advantage, then you lose your vote. And for some reason, she thought that she put too much weight in her vote in this game. The numbers were not on her side to begin with, so I don't. A little bit surprised knowing that she put so much weight in her vote being so important. Fire represents life in this game. Your vote represents life in this game. Not always. I mean, she should have, obviously, hindsight's 2020, but she obviously should have tried to win that. And she even said, going back to the beach, nobody's gonna believe me. I'm just gonna be honest. And sure enough, Dee didn't believe her. Dee was questioning, like, oh, that's too convenient of a story. I don't think Dee believes anybody though. Um, but yeah, I would like to see how that challenge. I don't know if that's a new challenge, or if that somebody in the comment section can probably correct me if that's you got to get the rope out from the little levels on that thing in order to be safe at the tribal council. In hindsight, I almost get the vibe that the producers knew Emily was going home if she didn't get that immunity, and so that's why they geared that thing towards her to give her another chance almost. Because they can't interfere with the game, but the producers aren't dumb. They know who's, on the chopping block for the next episode. And so they could favor, okay, instead of doing this competition, we'll do this one because it might favor that person. I could totally see Survivor doing that. And I think that's still within the confines of, being fair to everybody and the rules and everything. Because, you don't know what challenge is going to be next. Some are going to favor you, some aren't. That's just the nature of the beast. But that was a I mean, that was Emily's downfalls. She played such a good game, so for her not to I was shocked. I would love to know if that's a game that someone has done before, or someone has puzzles, what they called it, not game, sorry. So, um, she comes back, and of course, Julie's talking about, targeting Emily just like she was in the very beginning of the episode, and I'm like, man, they're actually pushing this Emily thing on us. I still don't believe it though. And they finally mentioned the Julie idol thing. This idol thing was not explained very well. So, if you recall a few episodes ago, a long time ago actually, Austin had given Julie his idol, right? And then I guess she never gave it back. Okay, cool. How did that not come up until just now? Like, why would they have not told us that back then, so that we could kind of, assess her threat level, if at all? So that really bugged me. I saw it in a sneak peek, or in one of the sneak peeks online, they showed that that she had an idol. I'm like, wait a minute, she don't have an idol. What did I miss? Did they not tell us that? Because there are stuff, you can only tell us 90 minutes is still, you can only say so much in that amount of time. I get it, but still, that was wild. That was wild. Sebastian, if you're still here, I'm about halfway done. As soon as I'm done here, I'll give you the link and we'll talk about Extreme Cheapskates. Um, so Dee's targeting Emily. She's worried about the advantage. She did not win the advantage, but it raised her threat level, that it just everyone's targeting her. She didn't want to lose the vote. She didn't do the puzzle. That kind of sums that up. Um, Katura says that Julie is the biggest threat, and Austin actually started believing it. I don't think Julie's the biggest threat, but Katura planted that seed. So I guess maybe she'll be the one that takes credit for this Mama J blindside if it ever happens. But I don't know. We did learn that idol is good, I believe, for the final 5, but the amulet's only good for the final 6, which means Austin's gonna play it next time no matter what. So he doesn't even need to win immunity next time. I mean, I guess he could and then give it to somebody else, and then he can control who's going home. But, they already showed previews for the next episode that Julie and Drew are at war. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, Austin still has his idol. I thought he was gonna play it there at the end, and then he's gonna play his next time. If him or Drew win the next immunity, then I don't know. I mean, it's Katura, Jake, or they're not voting D. I'll tell you that. Um, it's just so weird hearing Austin say that he wants to flush his own idol. Was that weird to anybody other than me? Austin did give Julie the idol, but he never asked for it back, which was a big mistake. Yeah, yeah, huge mistake. Huge mistake. I mean, 2 idols in one game. That'll take you to the final, what, final 4 guaranteed? Because if you have to play one at 6 and one at 5, you're guaranteed final 4 if you have 2 idols. He's only got 1. Um, then they go to the immunity challenge, and I guess I feel pretty stupid because the word they show us, the word is resourcefulness, and they show an arch, and I'm like, you need 2 people to do this. It's literally impossible. I could not think of, even knowing the word resourcefulness, which was hard in itself for them, I'm sure. Building that arch was insane. I love the rope. You have to go back and forth if you don't have enough rope to grab your thing, and um, I thought that was really really cool the way they did that. But that arch, I don't know that I could have figured out how to build that arch. I'm fairly good with construction. I just did some concrete work earlier in my basement, but that arch, I I I, I don't know how they figured out how to do that. That was that was I felt dumb watching that because I thought like I got outwitted watching that. The barbecue and the immunity was great. The barbecue, the boys were crushing it, and they did the boys thing 2.0. Brought Jake in, and I'm watching this. I'm like, brought Jake in? What? Weren't you calling each other mobsters last week? So, and then they did later clarify in the episode that they I guess they squashed their beef. So, good for them. Um, I love that Jake ran out of rope when he was throwing his sandbags, he had to go back because he couldn't reach his own sandbags. So then they just started kind of tossing him instead of throwing him hard. And it was another one of those moments where it's like, oh, poor Jake. How do you not feel bad for the guy? He's just played such a pitiful game. But at least he realizes it, unlike Bruce, who kind of played a pitiful game and didn't even know it. Like Austin said, or Drew said, Dr- Bruce is playing an imaginary game of Survivor. Um, the I wrote down here both sides messed up Austin. Oh yeah. On the resourcefulness, he didn't look on the other side. Mental fatigue was what they blamed it on. Honestly, I don't remember Jeff saying, "You look on both sides. It has to be right on both sides." I don't remember him saying that. So I don't know. That was weird to me. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but that was weird to me. Um, I also the fact that Austin lost, I felt like that was almost like some sort of karma because if you saw, he peeked over at Drew and that's how he figured out the word. So that's what you get for peeking, Austin. Um, we talked about how they squashed the mobster beef. That when they were showing Jake's interview, I can't remember the last time that this happened, but they bleeped him saying, what was the word? They blurred and bleeped him saying a word. It was a curse word, but I don't remember which one. And that kind of caught me off guard. I was like, you could have just had him repeat it. You guys are out there all day. So that was an interesting choice of editing. This new era Survivor, you don't really get a lot of the cursing and vulgarity and stuff like that. So I was a little surprised about that editing snafu, if you want to call it that. They showed Drew's knees again. His knees look awful. All of them have horrible knees. I don't even know what's causing it, guys, because we've seen 45 seasons of Survivor, and people do get hurt, but I've never seen so many busted knees. And Drew's have to be the worst out of everybody's. So they're trying to figure out who they're going to vote out, right? They come back, and Austin tells Dee it's Julie. It's this dramatic scene. He can't possibly lie to her. And then, Dee's got to play along and write Julie's name and tell her and all that. And I just thought, why? I mean, that's how tight they are. The D the D Austin alliance, those two are not flipping. They're just not. Period. For $1 million, those two will not write the other one's name down. For $1 million. Think about that. So I don't know how it's the new Rob and Amber thing, I guess. But they're not flipping on each other. They're just not. You can take that to the bank. There's no way. Mark my words. Somebody clip this someday when I'm wrong. He said it multiple times to Austin, both sides. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear that he said it both times. Um, and why wouldn't Austin ask for it back? I mean, what a nice guy. He's so nice. He tried to blindside somebody with his idol, right? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Austin is in love big time. And D too. They were both. How did production hide that from us? That's a compelling storyline, and if it plays out the way that it seems like it's going to, I feel like they should have built that up, from the beginning, from the first, you know, Billy Garcia moment, where they, got the googly eyes. Whatever. I D told Julie to play the idol, and she did. She also said, "Don't be malicious and vindictive, so do not play it on. Don't Whoever Julie picked was going home tonight. She could have picked anybody. Um, I'm I guess I'm surprised that she wasn't vindictive to go after Austin because that relationship's definitely tarnished, but D is the glue once again. But she went with Emily. I mean, the easy pick would have been, I guess, Katura or Jake, poor Jake, the punching bag. But Julie's Dee's got a cracking that whip on Julie because she listened. You know what I mean? She could have easily blown up the re before. I mean, it sounds to me like it is blown up now though, because they showed the next episode, Julie and Drew at war. And I'm not even sure why it'd be Julie and Drew at war. I mean, I guess it was Drew's idea, but Austin was, you know, he was no innocent bystander, that's for sure. So they showed the votes. and you knew what was coming. They showed everybody literally voted for Julie, and then it was going to be up to Julie for whoever she wanted to vote out. And Dee's acting was so bad. I mean, she had her mouth covered. If any of you are ever on Survivor and you want to read somebody, anybody that goes like this, trying to hide their expression, they're being disingenuous. They're lying. You know what I mean? It's just not a natural. It's not a natural motion. So I don't know if anybody bought Dee's acting, but I wonder if Dee will come clean to Austin and Drew. You know that she told her, because I don't know that they showed that she was the one that that you know told them. Um, the the yes, Sebastian. Let me send you a link because I'm finishing up right now. Um, oh, how do I send a link here? Dun, dun, dun. Add as a moderator, and that's not what I want to do. Pin message. Oops, that's not what I want to do either. How do I even write a message on here? Top chat. Um, will it not let me write a message on here? Oh, here we go. Facebook Messenger. Go. Sebastian Guerrero. Why will it not let me put user in timeout? Wonder if it'll let me. Can't. No. Hold on, Austin. I'm gonna figure this out. Or Sebastian. I called you Austin. My bad. Um, live chat. Why would it not let me? Sebastian Guerrero. Let me see if I can find you on the chat, and then I'll send you the link that way. And how can I send you this? Um, I don't know how to send you this, Austin. I don't see any or add a guest. Send. Okay. Okay. Sebastian, can you send me a Facebook message? Um, I forgot I'm on YouTube right now. Send me a Facebook message, and I think I can send you the link that way. Because right now, I don't know how to send it. And God, how else did I do this? Yeah, Sebastian, the only way I can think of doing this, because oh, you know what? Maybe I can add it to the. I don't know if I can do that well. See if I can add it. I'm trying to add this link so that I can bring you on live, but I don't know how. Because when I was promoting this thing, I was promoting it through was it all the Facebook links. I wasn't promoting it on YouTube. Um, because most of my following is on Facebook, not on. Oh, why is this not letting me add guest? Uh, I send you a message on Instagram. Okay, let me check. If you want to jump on, we'll talk about this extreme cheapskate stuff because it's a funny story for sure. How I got on that show was pretty crazy too, actually. Oh, that was fast. You're on it. What's up, Sebastian?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Great.
Great. Where do you live? What part of the country are you in?
Wait, give me 1 second. I'm in New York, actually.
Oh, nice. I just tried to hitchhike there like 2 weeks ago, and it didn't go very well. I only made it
I'm
to
sorry about it.
yeah, I made it to like
I'm
one
really
truck stop.
sorry that, your venture ended on hiking to the casting of Survivor.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole. I've had
If
some weird luck.
if you get casted, I will watch Survivor even though I hate the show.
I love that I'm on a Survivor live stream recapping right now, and we're talking about hating Survivor.
I'm sorry if
No, no,
anybody
no. It's
from Survivor's
I
watching. I
get
was never a big fan of the show. So you know why I don't like Survivor and I don't like Big Brother. I don't like any of those reality TV shows.
Yeah,
It's because it's so much bullying. I get it. It's reality TV. You're stuck
yeah,
with all these people. You can't see new faces. But it's just a lot of picking on people, and I just don't like that. So that's
yeah.
the reason why I don't watch Survivor or
That's
Big
funny.
Brother.
Well, I hope that you get on Survivor someday. How's that? Then
No, thank you.
that'd be fun, wouldn't it though?
No,
What?
I probably would get. I would probably like. I vote myself off.
Oh, okay. So that's funny you said that. One of my strategies, and I'll say it on here because it's never going to happen because it's apparently against the rules. On the very first episode, the very first tribal council, I would go and I would write my own name down on the parchment, and then Jeff would read it, and then obviously I know I'm the one that wrote my own name down, and then I could blame it on somebody else and stir the pot a little bit. So unfortunately, apparently you cannot write your own name down on Survivor, which is dumb. I don't know why you can't because I think that'd be a fun strategy. But anyway, so much for that. Whatever.
No, I will never get casted for Survivor at all. Nor do I want to be part of any reality
What
TV.
did you say you liked Amazing Race or something like that though?
I do like Amazing Race. I haven't watched it this season because, okay, I'm not gonna lie, the show has made me depressed.
Oh no. No, that's not good. What did the show do if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, so the show really inspired me to go out and travel and see the world one day. So I actually applied to become a flight attendant,
Oh,
and
nice.
unfortunately, just like you, who's very persevering to get on Survivor, I failed 3 times flight attendant training.
Okay, let me tell you a story. I am not a well educated person, and
Hmm.
I wanted to get my real estate license. I was 19. I bought my first house, and I was paying commissions to all these other agents. And I thought I'm going to get my own real estate license, so that way I get to collect the commission on the houses I'm buying anyway. So I put myself through school, and I'm like one semester away from getting my degree, and they said, "Oh, all you have to do is take these like 3 core classes or whatever, and then you can take your real estate license. You don't have to have a degree to get a real estate license." I was like, what? Why am I wasting my time then? I'm gonna go take the test. So the test was like $75, I want to say. I'm gonna tell something. I don't think I've ever told anybody this. I failed that test 10 times. 10 times I failed my real estate test. Now, if everything in life was free or easy, nothing would be worth anything, right? And it was expensive to retake that test every time. But ultimately, I you just have to keep going. You just have to keep going until you make it happen. And those tests don't necessarily mean you're going to be a good flight attendant or a good real estate agent. I can tell you, as someone that failed it 10 freaking straight times in a row, I was one of the top sellers in my office. Now, there was another guy in there that had passed it on his first try, his real estate test. In fact, I thought he aced it. It was like some insane thing. He was out of the market within a month because real estate is not necessarily a business of what you know, but who you know. And passing that test meant nothing. Nothing on that test prepared me for selling real estate. It was a joke. It was an absolute joke. Now, hopefully, a flight attendant, whatever's on that test, probably applies to what you would actually need to know. But the point is, you just have to keep trying. You just have to keep trying. You know what I
I
mean?
am. I
It's
am
like
trying. And I'm not afraid to bash on this airline, but I feel like the universe would save me from this airline because this airline is very low cost and it has a reputation of badness from treating all their passengers and flight attendants.
Are you talking about Frontier or Allegiant?
You're on the right track. I don't want to admit it out loud because I'm
It's
on YouTube, but I will give you another hint about America's worst airline. It was this color right here, my first one.
yellow? What is that, Virgin
Yes.
Airline? No, what's yellow?
No.
It's not Delta. Which one
It
is
was
yellow?
yellow. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, well, everybody else that's watching right now, they probably know exactly. I'll ask you
And
offline,
I
but
failed it 3 times, those airlines and the categories of how you labeled it and how I try to label it without exposing their name,
ah,
personally, because I don't
yeah.
wanna get blackballed from the industry, because I really
Well,
do love aviation.
so real estate is like across the board, but now aviation, this flight attendant test is it different for every
Every
airline?
airline is different. Yes, 100% every airline is different. And even though I have practiced with these two low cost airlines, I know it's going to help me in the long run. Also, I suffer from dyslexia. I suffer from a learning difficulty, which is hard. And unfortunately, these test requirements are very high. And right now, I'm aiming for an airline that doesn't have so high test requirements. And you want to know something? They always reject me every time. I've gone to see interviews like you went to the casting of Survivors, and I always get rejected from the big leagues. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I always give myself good body language. I'm always presentable. I'm always having my hair up, nice suit and tie, and just but
Yeah.
fingers crossed though, 2024 though, it will be my year.
Yeah. Amen. How about that? Well,
And
perseverance.
I
I
hope that you get on Survivor.
well, I appreciate that. If everything in life, like I said, if it was free or easy, nothing would be worth anything. And it's just like I think my biggest problem is just I'm too persistent for my own good. You know what I mean? Like
Me
I
too.
wish I
I'm a
could
very
give up.
good
I really
person.
do. I really do. Are you currently employed at least? Like, so you're not relying on this?
Yeah, I am working right now. I work with elderly people right now. I'm a caretaker.
Oh, so you're earning your wings basically. You're doing God's work. My
Basically, I'm doing yes.
Yeah, my first job was at a nursing home. I just was a server. My brother, he still runs a kitchen to this day, and I don't know. It's you. Those are good jobs though to learn. It's amazing how like every job can like help you learn other jobs and stuff like that. And the skills that you're learning right now in your current job will certainly help you as a flight attendant.
Hey,
And
Greg, I
and
have a
like
question.
yeah.
Okay, I'm string a comment right here. How old are you, by the way?
I'll be 41 next month. Yeah, I'm older than the trees in your front yard probably.
Dude,
Yeah.
you still look the same from when I watched you when I was like a teenager.
That's funny. It's crazy to me that like I don't know if I've got the fountain of youth going, but I have a beard now, which I didn't have before. I got a few wrinkles I didn't have before, and I'm about 50 pounds heavier. But it is crazy when you get recognized. I probably get recognized maybe if a big YouTuber puts out something or a TikToker, then it'll be every day for a week. But normally it's maybe like once every 2 weeks. I'll just be randomly walking around. Somebody will recognize me from the show and like that was 12 years ago. I think it's 10 or 12 years ago. So it is funny to me that people would still recognize me because I mean, I guess I've never had a sip of alcohol in my whole life, which I think helps. I don't smoke, I don't drink. All I drink is water. So it's like those kind of things I think are paying dividends for me. I exercise every day. So I haven't completely like let myself go, I guess you could say. And I don't know, at some point I am starting to get a little bit of gray in my beard. I plucked a couple of them out
I'm
here the other
already
day.
getting gray and I'm only 20 and I'm only 26. It's starting growing out and I'm just like plucking them all out now at this
Look,
point.
if I can give you some advice, wear those grays with like a badge of honor because we all know somebody that didn't get to make it this far. You know what I mean? So yeah, the wrinkles suck. Yeah, the gray hairs, it sucks, but it's a part of life and
Wait, Greg, where are you from, by the way? Never asked you. Where are you from?
Cincinnati. Yeah, yeah. Born and
Isn't
raised.
that Ohio?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've been
Well,
to Ohio. I've been to Kirtland.
where in Ohio?
Kirtland, Ohio.
I don't know where that is. Kirkland?
Kirtland, yes. I went to the Kirtland Temple with
Yeah.
a friend of mine because back in the day I actually tried to become a Mormon, which I'm not, thankfully. And they had a trip to Kirtland, Ohio.
What is that near? I've never heard of that.
I have no idea. I went there because I just wanted to go to Six Flags.
Well, okay, so we don't have Six Flags, but we do have Kings Island in Cincinnati, and then we have Cedar Point up at like near Cleveland.
No, see, if you
So,
did this like church trip, they drove you to New Jersey afterwards, and you went on Six Flags. So I was like,
oh, that was the motivation. Well,
yeah,
whatever.
I was like, just stick it, Sebastian. Learn, do this Bible scripture study, and then you'll go to Six Flags and scream on all the roller coasters like it's no tomorrow, and then you can
Yeah.
just ditch all of them.
Well, if you would have watched Survivor earlier, you would have seen that one of the girls on the show was actually getting ready to be married to a religious cult leader, and that's how she got on the show. Essentially, that was her story, and her mom, she has no relationship with her. They said because, and that's what got her out of the cult was finally marrying. I'm not saying Mormons or cults or anything like that, but it was a religious cult that. Woo wee. I mean, I don't know. It's
I have so many questions to ask you,
go for it.
Greg. All right, even though like my first number ones, I've been watching you since I was young, so I'm kind of a fan of yours.
Well,
And
I appreciate that. It's very kind of you.
okay, you're welcome. And also too on Extreme Cheapskates, when that was the first time I saw you, then the second time I saw you was on Hardcore Palm. I have questions about both shows. Was Hardcore Pond scripted when you wore that like shark suit where you're like, yo, I need my money, and then they were like, what the heck? And Astro was like, what are you talking
So,
about? Was that scripted?
so here's how that worked out.
And then
I
you
had
threatened to punch less, by the way. I was like, I don't think that he really would do that, but I want to ask.
so after so they were I filmed 2 episodes by the way of each of those shows, and
And how
only
did you
one of
got to
each has aired.
Detroit? That's my question. How did you manage to get to Detroit? Did they pay for your plane ticket?
No, no, no. Detroit's only about a 4-hour drive from Cincinnati, so I drove. I got that. I was on a show. Do you know who Nancy Grace is? She's like an
No,
attorney. She's like a one of those people. Anytime somebody goes missing, she's on the TV. She was a judge for a while. So I
no.
did the first reality show I ever did was Swift Justice with Nancy Grace.
Mhm.
And on there, I was just acting a fool, even though it was real. And I won the case, and I actually got all the money. Long story short, this lady, I had bought a box truck moving company, and so I paid to repair the truck. And then I had a bill of sale and everything that she was going to sell it to me, and then she ended up selling it to one of her friends for more money, and she kept the money that I put into the truck. It's like, well, that's not right. So I sued her, and I ended up winning on this reality show called Swift Justice with Nancy Grace. Well, that ended up being so popular that the casting director for Hardcore Pawn called me and said, "Hey, do you have anything that you can pawn at our pawn shop?" And I was like, "I'm sure I've got something." And they said, "Well, what do you do?" And at the time, I was a mascot for shark fights. I was their shark mascot. And so I would drive to like Texas or Nebraska anytime the fights were going on, and I'd dress up as this shark. Yeah. And
I remember on the show you were like that.
so I I go up to Detroit, and the guy, they start miking me up, and he was like, "Have you ever been kicked out of somewhere before?" I was like, "No." And he's like, "Ooh, I don't know if this is going to be the right show for you." And I was like, "I'm already here. Like, just like, let's do this." And they're like, "Well, let's get some sound bites from you." And so they mic me up, and they're like, "All right, tell us your name, where you're from, and why you're here." And I just went batshit crazy on the camera. I mean, I'm going off. And the guy, I could tell the segment producer, he went from like, "Ugh, I don't know if this guy's right," to, "Oh boy, this is about to be good," because he knew he had something. So keep in mind, the owners have no idea that I'm full of crap, right? So I go in there, I'm acting a fool. It's not like we redid takes or anything. That video was one consecutive take. There was no editing at all, which is an editor's dream, right? And so afterwards, the very last scene where I'm getting on the bus, I just happened to flag like a bus down, and the bus stopped, and so I jumped on, and I was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm filming a reality show right now, but I don't need a ride. But thank you so much." And she's like, "Oh, you're cool, baby." And so I walk off the bus, and I throw my hands up like she wouldn't let me on, and the bus just kept going. It was epic. That that so
Did you get
that
paid
ep-
for it?
what did I what?
Did you get paid? Did they pay you or no?
I'll get to that in a second because that's kind of funny too. So I go back. I'm walking away from the bus. I go back. The segment producer meets me like halfway in front of the shop, and he goes, Oh my god, that was amazing. I was like, "Thanks." He's like, "Is there anything else I can do for you?" I was like, "Yeah, can I go in there and meet them as myself, not some lunatic that just tried to fight him?" And he was like, the segment producer's like, "I don't know, man. We pushed that awfully far." And so he radios in and he goes, he goes, "Hey, Les, I got the shark guy. He wants to come in and meet you." And then Les, the owner of the shop, he radios over. He goes, "That mother effer ain't stepping foot in here ever again." And so the segment producer messaged him. He goes, "No, you don't understand. He was acting." "Are you kidding me?" "No." "Okay, let him in." So they let me back into the place. And Les, probably from like 50 feet away, he sees me and he throws his hands up and he goes, "I was going to effing kill you. That was awesome." And so he comes
I
up
feel
to
like
me.
no, basically at this time.
He's like, "Kids, come over here." He's like, "Seth, Ashley, come over here. You got to meet this guy. He's awesome." And Ashley is not having it. I mean, she is furious that I just tried to fight her dad. I mean, literally, it was like 3 minutes earlier. I was trying to put up right fist hospital, left fist cemetery. Like I
I'm
was, I,
doing.
I pissed
How old
them.
were you?
Oh God, I was young. That was about 10 years ago. So I was probably late 20s, early
20.
30s, something like that. Yeah, I was probably late 20s, maybe 20, something like that. Whatever. Um, so we're all talking, and I was like, "Ashley," I was like, "Give me a hug." And Les is like, "Come on, Ashley, give him a hug." She's like, "No, I don't wanna even look at him." I was like, "Ashley, you know you wanna hug me right now." And I was just killing her with kindness. And she eventually did give me a hug. And then Les, he's like, "Hey, you want to come to the Red Wings game with us?" And I was like, "Well, I don't live in Detroit. I live in Cincinnati, so I gotta head back home." And he's like, "All right, man. Well, if you ever want to come up here, just let me know." Blah blah blah. And I've since been up there just one time for a wedding, and Seth has been really cool. I haven't seen Les since then, but Seth's been awesome. Every once in a while, Ashley will like something of mine on Facebook, so I know she still stays in touch. But that episode ended up being the highest rated, most viewed episode in True TV history. So like anytime for like 5 straight years,
What was your
if
birthday suit, like, in front of
Okay, okay,
national
okay. Hold on. I'll talk about that in a second too. So, what they would do is if it was the Super Bowl was on, or if the World Series was on, or WrestleMania, they would counter program with my episode. So I was always flattered by that. Now, I I was a camp counselor at the time, and I'm working with kids, and I had told the parents like, "Hey, my episode's going to air tonight. If you guys want to watch it, it's really funny." And they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah." All the parents are like, "Oh yeah, we can't wait to watch." And they sent me the producer sent me a sneak peek so I could watch it before anybody else, and they showed me naked, and I was like, "Oh crap!" I was like, I'm calling the parents back. I was like, "Guys, do not let your kids watch it." They made it look like I was naked. So long story short, any like if I every time you talk, if I was bleeping you, it would make it look like you were or sound like you were cursing, even though you're not cursing, right? Bleep 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 bleep, right? So I had two blue speedos on. I took one blue speedo off. That's the one I was dangling, and I was still wearing one. But they blurred it. It was a generous blur, and then they made it my skin color, so it looks like I'm naked. I was not actually naked, and they edited in. The only thing they edited in later was, "Where's Ashley going with the naked guy?" They added that in later because obviously I wasn't naked. They would have been like, "Where's Ashley going with the speedo guy?" You know what I mean? They wouldn't have said naked. So that they did edit in afterwards. But yeah, no, I definitely wasn't naked. But it was funny. Like I was running for office here in my town, and everybody was like, "Oh, I'm not voting for that guy. He was naked on TV." And I was like, "Well, that goes to show how stupid you are because you believe everything you see on TV." And yeah, so no, I actually was not naked on there, and I didn't curse. That's the crazy thing. I only curse twice a year, but on that episode, it looked like I cursed quite a bit, I guess. But
and another million this is a $1,000,000 question, though, I have for you. Did you get paid?
okay, so ironically, I've done between reality shows and movies, I've done about 100 total, and there's only one out of 100 that I've not been paid for. And would you believe it's Hardcore Pond? They never paid me. You believe that? All the money I made them, all the ratings, never got paid a dime. That was the only show they didn't pay me. And they said they would is the crazy thing. But they no, never paid me for that. But here's the thing about reality TV is you kind of get paid in different ways. So like right now, all the subscribers I'm picking up from that episode in particular helped me get monetized on my YouTube. So it happens in waves. You know what I mean? It's weird how it works. You might not directly get paid, but indirectly, I was doing speaking engagements locally, and it was because of that episode, and I'd get paid for that. And had they not seen it, then I wouldn't have gotten it. So I am getting paid, but not directly because of not directly.
And I have a on like Survivor TV shows, do you know if any of those contestants get paid or
Oh
no?
yeah, Survivor. When I was supposedly it's staggered, so each tribal council, you make a little bit more. Once you're in the jury, you make a little bit more. Basically, second place I think is 100 grand. First place is a million, something like that. But when I was there live at the finale, I watched them hand out checks, and everybody was opening up in front of me, and they each got $10,000. Now that was 10 years ago. That was '09. So I'm sure it's gone up since then. I would hope it's gone up since then. Some
Got
people
it.
on the show that they really want, I guarantee you they would be like, "Look, we'll pay. I realize you can't leave work for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever. So we'll pay your mortgage or we'll give you enough money to cover stuff while you're gone." I'm certain that they do that for people. I don't know for a fact, but I guarantee you, if I'm a casting director and I find somebody, I say, "Oh my God, Sebastian is who we want. We've got to have this guy." I will pay him to miss, a month of work or his rent for 3 months while he's gone and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, I'm pretty sure. So after I did the hardcore pawn, it went so viral. I started getting calls to do all kinds of crap, and one of them was this cooking show, and so I applied to be on the cooking show, and the casting director said, "Hey, like, I appreciate you applying, but we're actually not we're not casting for this cooking show right now, but we are casting this new cheapskate show. It's going to replace Honey Boo Boo." And I'm like, okay, this is a big deal. You know what I mean? So I
Did you get paid for skates at least?
we'll get to that because that
Just come on, tell us,
it's a
Greg.
great.
Just
I'll
tell us.
tell you, and it's crazy. But so
Yes, he got paid.
I'm talking to the casting director about Extreme Cheapskates, and I said, hey, I'm actually not a cheapskate, but my brother, my middle brother, oh my god, he's such a cheap ass. Like I was pretty blunt, and I thought he would be perfect for that cooking show because he was working in a kitchen. And they said, "Well, I'll tell you what. I know you're not the cheapskate, but I'll give you the other casting director's number. If you can convince her that you're a cheapskate, I won't tell her that you're not." And I was like, "Oh, game on!" So I rigged my house. I mean, everything I did on the show was based on something my grandpa did in real life, but I completely rigged it so that like it looked like I was the cheapest person in the world. And the
I
cast
have so many questions though from that
say
show.
that again?
I have a few questions from that show, by the way.
Okay, go for
All right. Is it okay if I answer, or do you still want to continue talking what you were talking
it.
about?
Well, that's basically how I got on the show by pretending like I was cheapskate. So, and I'll get into the money stuff at the end. But what was your what go for the questions? Let's do it.
I do have a couple of questions. All right. There's I want to say five, but I think they're three. So let's just stick with it right now. All right. So question one. Um, actually I have four now. All right. So question one is the basic one. Do you really do Zumba in real life, and do you really coach Zumba in real life?
Yeah. So, when I was, let me think here. How did Zumba start? Um, I after I walked across the country to drop off my Survivor tape back in '09, I had hurt my knee, and the YMCA offered me a scholarship. So, I went to the YMCA, and I went first. I went to like a yoga class, and I was like, ah, this is not for me. And then I went to a Pilates class, and like you start bending some of the older ladies in weird positions, they start farting, I start laughing. Like it was not a good mix for me. And then I went to a Zumba class, and I was like, what the heck? 50 beautiful women. What am I doing here? This is awesome. And I did that for a couple years. Yeah, I'm a single guy. It was cool. And the instructor, she ended up moving to Florida. And so somebody needed to take over her classes and stuff like that. Hey, little buddy, you want to say hi?
Oh, is that your cat?
Yeah, I dyed her pink for her birthday, and I can't believe her fur is still pink. You believe that?
Meow meow.
Hey, what you doing, buddy? I'm gonna tickle you. Kitchi, kitchi. Anyway, um,
Give your cat a kiss for me.
Hey, look, she's gone now. Anyway,
Okay.
um, so sh- so so the instructor I was learning from, she moved to Florida, and I started teaching at the community center, and the community center was great. Unfortunately, I had just run for office against some people that were really powerful and really wealthy, and they decided that they were going to kick me out of the community center because I had run for office against them, and rich, powerful people don't like being challenged. So they kicked us out, and I had made peace with being done with Zumba. Truthfully, I was done, and the mall manager up the street said, "Look, why don't you come to the mall? I'll give you a spot here." And I was like, "I can't afford mall rent. There's no way." This is 10 years ago when malls were happening, you know. And she said, "I don't think you understand me. I'm going to help you with the rent." I was like, "What?" So she ended up giving me the old Disney store. It was vacant, so all I had to do was put in the floor, build a stage, stereo lights. It was perfect. And we've been there now for about 6 months. After I was in there, she asked if I could sign a lease. I said, "Yeah, this is the best accident I've ever had." So I signed a lease, and I've been there teaching Zumba for 12 years now, I want to say.
Still going on?
Yeah, 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 yeah. If you come, well, right now, I took a hiatus. I've been doing like 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off, but I think in February, yeah, I believe in February I'll start teaching again. So as soon as you pass your flight attendant thing and your CVG, you'll have to come stop by and do some Zumba with me at the studio.
Oh, nice. Will I get an autograph from you?
I'll give you whatever you want. I'll give you a tutu, whatever. I've got so much crap at my dance studio. You can have
I
whatever.
saw all that stuff. I was like, does he really have like all that, or
The
was it just like a set show?
No, that actually was one. There are a lot of half truths in reality TV, but that was one of them for sure. Yeah.
Okay, and then another question was this: your roommates, were they actors, or were those really your roommates?
So originally, when the casting director came out and filmed me in my house, I did have two real roommates, and
Still friends with them or no?
yes, and I've sold, and I'm gonna actually officiate the one guy's wedding here real soon. But I sold that house, and when I moved into the condo where we actually filmed, it was just me. I didn't have any roommates. But they said, "Well, can you find some roommates?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can find some roommates." So I called my friend Raj, who I have officiated his wedding, and then my friend Kevin. His grandpa actually owned the condo I was living in. I had met him at summer camp when I was a little kid, and when he was a little kid, and so they both became my fake roommates. Well, as luck would have it, I sold that condo. I moved into this house, and Kevin actually needed a place to stay because his lease was up and he wanted to buy a house. So he lives with me right now, actually, which is kind of funny because he was my fake roommate on the show, but now he's my real roommate 10 years later. Just and we filmed the second Extreme Cheapskate episode. It's only aired in Germany though, and he's in that one too. Yeah.
Wow. And then another question was that house. It said it was given to you for free. You just had to mow. Was that really true? Was that house really given to you, and all you had to do was mow the front yard?
No, no, that was made up. That was made up. Now that front
So that house
The house was not free. No, no, no. So, well, okay, let me back that up a little bit. Um, when I moved in there, I had just sold my house, and I was living in the condo, and the owners, my now roommate's parents, um, his dad had just passed away, and he's like, "Look, nobody's living there right now. You can live there if you want." And he was like, just I think he was even paying for like utilities and everything. And finally, I was like, no, no, like I got to give you something. And so I was probably there for about a year. And then I was like, do you guys want to sell this? I kind of like it here, you know? And I was waiting on another house to pop up for sale to buy, and it just never happened. And they're like, yeah, we'll sell it to you. So I did end up buying it from them.
and you live in that house still to this day.
No, that was a condo actually. That was not a house. And that condo I sold about 3 years ago, and then 4 years ago, and then I bought the house on the street I grew up in, or street I grew up on, in between my brothers, because I wanted to live in between my nieces and nephews. And they have since moved. So I'm actually getting ready to sell this house like next week. So if you know anybody in Cincinnati, I've got two houses on this street. One I rent, and then this one that I live in. I'm gonna sell them both, and I want to buy more crypto. That's my goal.
Um, Wow. And so you just answered the $1,000,000 questions I have. And I hope you don't flush once a week.
No, no. That line was based on do you remember Jersey Shore? They had this thing Sunday Fun Day, and my thing was Sunday Flush Day. And so that's what birthed that whole ridiculous thing.
And the
Um
yolk cups
and the what? Oh, the
and the
yogurt
yolk.
cups. Like I said, a lot of the stuff on the show was based on something my grandpa did in real life. Now, my grandpa and grandma, they were like depression era grandparents. So they lived like they were poor, truthfully, but they were actually doing pretty quite well. I didn't really realize that, as a kid. Kids don't necessarily understand rich or poor, but they understand love. And I knew they loved us. And those yogurt cups, grandma would write our names on them, and then that's how we knew which cup was ours. Because when you got 10 cousins running around, all everybody's cup looks the same. Hey, is that mine? Is that yours? So we always knew which cup was ours because they had our names on it, and it made us feel special too. You know what I mean? Grandmas are the best. So yeah, that was real. That was one of. There were a few things in the show that were embarrassingly real, truthfully, but that part was real. I mean, it's not something I necessarily do, but um, it was based on something real, at least.
Alrighty. Then let's see. What other questions do I have about the show? We covered that. Well, can I be honest about the show?
Let's hear it.
About here? Okay. So I can't watch your full episode on YouTube. It cuts out. Like I have no idea why. It cuts out, and there was one part that I found on TikTok, which I was like, "Oh wow, that wasn't on the show," but it's on TikTok. That in the TikTok show that of your full episode, it says you pick up salt for free.
Oh wow, I never saw that. I didn't know that actually. If you find that, could you send that to me? I've never seen that version. So
I I don't
originally,
know where I get that from because it was from TikTok and I didn't save it.
wow, that's amazing because yeah, we did film that, and I actually forgot about that. So the salt trucks, when they come, I live on a cul-de-sac, and when the salt trucks do a circle in my cul-de-sac, they drop an extra amount of salt that just gets wasted, right? So my grandpa, he would go out and he would shovel it and then use it on his driveway or his steps, right? So that way he didn't have to pay for salt. So that was something, yeah, yeah. It's not something I really do, but I did do it for sake of the show. And yeah, I mean that salt is not cheap. I probably saved $20 worth of salt just by getting salt truck leftovers, basically, because it just maybe I am a cheapskate.
Well, can I be honest? The show kind of inspired me to go on the cheap edge during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, so when that show first aired, I mean, they were flying me all over the country. I did Steve Harvey, Anderson Cooper. I did all these talk shows because my season was supposed to replace Honey Boo Boo, and that was going to be TLC's next big show. But the ratings were so bad that they didn't renew a third season, and they ended up selling my episode or my season for like 60. My episode cost $60,000 to produce. They ended up selling the series for like 360,000, I think, and then they resold it to like for like $1 million to a guy that ended up dubbing us in like 100 different languages. And then next thing I know, now keep in mind it's a complete failure. I didn't think anything would ever happen, and then the pandemic happens, right? Ironically, I'd done like 90 movies up to this point. During the pandemic, I don't do a single one, and I have the best 2 years. I know this is tone deaf, but like I'd had the best 2 years I'd ever had in the entertainment industry during COVID because nobody was making new content. So these YouTubers, they were going back and they were doing reaction videos. So PewDiePie did a reaction video to the Cheapskate episode. That guy from Nickelodeon, Fred from Nickelodeon, did a reaction video to it. Graham Stephan from YouTube did a reaction to it. Um, David Dobrik did a parody of it. Like all these big YouTubers were doing these crazy video reaction videos, and it caused it to go viral all over again. And it blows my mind that I mean, COVID, people were looking ways to save money. So it was the perfect storm, basically. Nobody was making new content, and it was about saving money at a time when everyone was trying to save money. So it ended up being the perfect storm, really, and that's what caused it to just go. insane. But yeah, yeah. Also, the money part. That was one of your questions. How much did I get paid on that? So we'll close unless you have more questions. We'll close on this. Um,
No, there was one more question, but let's just close on this.
no, no, no. Ask me the question, then we'll close on the money thing.
Ah, man, what me and my big mouth. Are you still living the dream, by the way?
I'm living the dream, and you can live the dream too for $20 on my website. I'll send you a shirt. Seriously, message me on um
Insta.
yeah, yeah. I don't get on Instagram much. So
I
when I get on Facebook, it like automatically posts to Instagram. So like it looks like I'm on there, but I'm actually never ever on there.
All right. Wait, what was another question? Now I forgot it.
Well, send me your.
I know the questions now. All right. So these are the two last questions I have. Did you ever met any other people on Extreme Cheapskates that were on the show, like Kate or Roy?
I met and I can't think of her name when they were flying us across the country to do all these talk shows. I met the girl
The
that
million
pees in the bottle. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I'm friends with
Kate.
her.
Her name is Kate.
Is that Kate? She actually. So what was funny? We're in the back in the green room and we're talking, and I'm like, so do you really do this? Because I know I'm full of crap, but I don't know if she's full of crap too. So I'm trying to feel her out. And she's like, oh yeah, I pee in bottles and I use it for my vegetables in my garden. And I'm just like, what the heck? And she said,
Wait, Kate. That's a different girl.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is oh, I would know it if I heard it. Dang it, I'm Facebook friends with her and I can't think of her name.
She's like a
Well,
million cheapskate.
yes, yeah. Oh, what was her name? Well, anyway, she said that because I was telling her about Survivor and all that, and she said, Greg, she was also this girl um was also on Amazing Race, and she said the casting director for Survivor and Amazing Race was the same person at the time, and she said I got a call from Lynn, the casting director, out of the cold blue 10 years later to do Amazing Race, and I had actually applied for Survivor. I was like, what? So it always gave me hope that eventually, um, I would get on based on that. But as luck would have it, nope. But yeah, she's the only one that I've talked to a few of them online, but I've only met or worked with. God, what was her name? This is gonna drive me nuts.
See her face though, that she pees in bottles and she throws it in her dump.
I could find. I'm friends with her on Facebook. I can't think right now though. I'm drawing a blank.
From the dumpster.
Yeah,
She would go
yeah.
for like leaves and other products. And there was a scene where she went to a bakery and she got bakery dumpster cake.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I would eat lobster out of a dumpster, but cake's probably okay.
I would eat nothing, and she made strawberry jam out of her own strawberries from her garden.
Are you in like downtown New York City, or are you just like the suburbs?
Suburbs.
Suburbs. Okay.
I'm not going to
I
say
was
that
say
for safety purposes.
that's okay. But I would like there was. I thought it was Kate was the lady that was dumpster diving in New York City.
Yeah, that was her. That's Kate from New York City that furnished her whole
Yeah.
apartment through New York City dump.
I feel like New York City, if you're gonna eat out of a dumpster, that's the place to do it because there's so many dumpsters. Like there's I don't know, whatever. I'm not in that position right now, but if I get burned on this crypto after I sell my house, you might see me jumping in a dumpster or two.
Okay, moving on from dumpsters.
Yeah. So
Uh,
did
the
you have
last
another question or you want to go into the pay?
final question.
Final question, go for it.
Brandy.
Oh, Brandy. Yes, love Brandy. So, all right. Let me
Did they
explain Brandy.
go on a dating site?
Okay. Hold on.
And do they really exist free dating sites?
Well, I did I had never no, I did not meet her on a dating site. So the producers asked me if I knew of a restaurant that we could rent out so that we could film. And I said, "Yeah, a friend of mine owns this barbecue place. It's really good." And so they went to check it out and they're like, "Oh my god, this place is perfect. We love it. But we need to find you a date." And I was like, "Well, good luck cuz at this point I've been single for quite a while." And my roommates they at the time or my real roommates at the time, they're like, "Oh, there's this girl, I won't say her name, but there's this girl, she's crazy. Like she would be perfect." And I was like, "Guys, not her. like anybody but her. And of course, when I said that, the producers were like, oh yeah, it's gonna be her. This was perfect. And I was like, nah, you don't understand, guys. Anybody but her. And like, oh no, it's got to be her. I was like, fine. So I went along with it, and the date was so bad and so fake because this girl knew that I wasn't a cheapskate. She knew I was full of shit. So like
It was
everything I
great
would
though,
this is
right?
not Brandy. This is not Brandy. We had a date before me and Brandy. And this particular girl that I'm with knows me really well. She knew I was full of crap. And so it was just fake. It was just so disingenuous. And so they fly back to California, and the producers are like, "Oh, that was awful. We're gonna fly back out, but we need to get you a new date." And so they called the barbecue place, and one of the servers there said, "Well, hey, I've got I don't know, a friend or something that's like really cute. She would probably go on a date with this cheapskate." And so Brandy shows up. She, poor thing, she has no idea.
Online dating.
No, no, there was no online dating. I know it said that on the show, but there was no online dating.
Yeah, I said from the
Um,
on they really
yeah,
didn't.
yeah. And so she shows up, and completely like she was so sweet, and she had no idea I was full of crap, and she handled it so well. She could have trashed me so bad if she wanted. And trust me, production was encouraging her to trash me, but she was so nice. And then afterwards, I messaged her. I was like, "Hey, I'm not really a cheapskate. Like I just wanted to meet you as myself because I kind of feel bad. I just basically lied to you about who I am for the last hour." And I didn't know this at the time, but she had a boyfriend, which I didn't know at the time. But so she was just doing it for TV too, I guess. Well, um, years later, when all this went viral, actually it was like last year. Um, this They wanted to film another episode, so they called her and they're like, "Hey, would you go on another date with Greg?" And she was like, "Yeah, of course. Like we're friends now." And so we did. We went on a second date in this new episode, and this time around, obviously, she knows I'm full of crap, but she did so good. It was so much fun, and I
Is
hope
this
it
episode out for the public?
no, it's all I have a copy of it, but I only have a copy of it in German. So at some point I've got to find an English version. Um, cuz yeah,
So it's
it's
now considered lost media what we have.
basically
But you have it, but just in Germanese.
yeah, just in German. Yeah.
Oh
Unless they put it out someday, which I mean,
man, I
who knows.
call my friend from Germany so I could sit down with him and be like, translate.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they'd probably do that for you. I don't know. Yeah, if I can find it, I'll send it to you. And I'll send you a shirt too. So I True story. I have worn a Living the Dream shirt every single day for like 10 years for a couple reasons. One, life is so much easier when you know what you're going to wear every single day. And I just try to live the simplest life possible because it gives you time to do the things you really want to do. And picking out outfits is not something I enjoy doing. And it also was like, everyone should wear a shirt that says something about themselves, or that's just a positive message. You know what I mean? It's just a good omen. Everyone should do that. And so I started going and talking to like kids in high schools and stuff. And all the kids wanted to talk about are what celebrities I've worked with, what celebrities I know, what celebrities text me. Just all they cared about were other celebrities. And finally, I said, "Look, guys, if you only remember 3 words I say, remember this: live your dreams." And that seemed to stick. And I was like, you know what? If you're doing what you're doing because you want to, not because you have to, you are living the dream. So for like 15 bucks, you can live the dream, but I'll send you one for free. Just send me your information, and I'll give you
Oh,
either.
I
I
just
have
a giant hug. I'm
uh
sending you a giant hug right now. Thank
well, thank you. I'll send you. I have them in gray, green, and pink. The green is like a highlighter, but send me your size and what color you want, and then I'll send you one out probably tomorrow ish.
All right. Oh, what was I gonna say though? But also there was another scene that you were shopping at retail stores and you didn't rip off the tags. Have do you really? Did they really get a whole wardrobe for you? Be like, just don't rip off the tags.
I don't remember a shopping scene, but I was in my closet and I did have two shirts that still had the tags on them, so that's what I used to show them that I keep the tags on. Even though
Uh,
I don't do that in real life, I just happen to have 2 shirts that for some reason still had the tags on. I'm not sure why they
you're
did.
not keep this for that episode what you did about the shirt and the clothes. I did the exact same thing. I went on a date with this guy and I was just like, you know what? This show Extreme Cheapskates from Greg to do. So I kid you not, I went into a retail store and I was like, "Can I get this outfit?" And I kid you not, the next day I returned it.
Well, they didn't lose anything. They'll be okay. That's funny you said that. When I was doing the Anderson Cooper show, they had two audience members that had questions for me, and the one lady, she was like, "I would never let my daughter date you." And I was like, "Teach your daughter how to sew." And I got booed out of New York City. But the other guy, he was a black boutique owner, and so he sold high end clothes. And he's like, "What you're doing is stealing." And I was like, "What do you mean I'm stealing? You got to keep my money for 30 days. You made interest on it. You made money on me." And I got booed out of. I got booed again pretty hard. But
You know, I think what I did that day, I don't think everybody who does that is like, you know what, we just want that one outfit for one day and let's return. I don't think it's bad. I think everybody has done it.
So so that's funny. The I did that for the Anderson Cooper show. I was wearing like blue pants, blue shirt, black bow tie, and I left the tags on it, and I was going to return it when I got home from doing that show as part of the gig. And I ended up keeping it just because I was like, well, I was on the show. It was funny. Well, now, as luck would have it, when I add an orange bow tie and orange suspenders, I'm Blippy. So that outfit I wore on Anderson Cooper is my Blippy outfit.
I love the outfit.
Yep, yep. Um, the money thing. That was kind of
Yep,
interesting.
now we can get on to money. All the questions are over of extreme cheapskates.
Okay, so we'll talk about the money end of it, and then we'll get off here. So I was initially offered like $3,500 to do the show, and I'll be honest, that's at the time was for sure the most amount of money I'd ever made on a show. Well, they had um they had fired the crew that filmed. We filmed like they flew out like three or four different times, and they fired the crew for something that wasn't even their fault. I don't remember what it was, but I know it wasn't their fault. And I was like, "Well, that sucks because I really liked them." And she said, "Yeah, they're dirty. The way they did us was so wrong." And she was like, "You know what, Greg? Like, if you want to get them back, like next time that they come to film, tell them that you won't do it, and they've already invested like 30, 40 grand in production. Like, they have to have your content, so they're going to pay you whatever you want." And so um they were kind of jerks to me, and they just showed up at my door without even telling me. They flew like a whole crew out, and I was like, "Are you guys kidding me? Like, you didn't even tell me?" And normally I wouldn't have cared, but after seeing what they did to the previous crew, I was kind of upset with them. And so the producer, the main guy, he was like, "Look, man, we'll give you an extra $1,000 to film." And I was like, "I don't want to risk my chance of being on Survivor because I'm doing this stupid reality show." I was like, "If I'm going to do this while your crew is here, then you got to make one of my other dreams come true." And they're like, "Fine, what's your other dream?" And I was like, "Crap, like I didn't have another dream in mind, so I just made something up off the top of my head." And so keep in mind, I'm in like my late 20s, and the people involved in what I'm about to say were like teenagers at the time, so it was super creepy in hindsight. But I told them, they said, "What's your other dream?" I was like, "I've always dreamed of meeting One Direction." I didn't listen to One Direction, but they were the biggest band at that time. And so they said, "Okay, deal." And I was like, "Really?" They got on eBay. They spent $10,000 to buy a meet and greet ticket. They ended up flying me to Uncasville, Connecticut. I think it's Prudential Center, whatever it is. To meet One Direction. So I ended up getting to meet One Direction. Cost them $10,000 in order for me to film another episode. Isn't that insane?
You did this for a One Direction ticket.
One Direction. Well, at the time, One Direction was the biggest thing in the world, but they were like the Beatles back then. And I wasn't even a One Direction fan. I didn't know any of them. So it was just, I just off the top of my head, like if I asked you,
Well,
Sebastian, what's your
what?
dream? If I could make your dream come true, what would it be?
To get an interview with American Airlines.
Okay, well, um,
Oh,
say something crazy. What's the most ridiculous dream you could ever have? Even
hmm.
if it's not true, off the top of your head.
All right.
Dream come true. What's the most ridiculous dream we can make come true? Boom, off the top of your head.
Paris.
What
Let's
is
go
it?
to Paris.
Oh, Paris.
Get a
Okay. So you're supposed to say something like, "I want to eat like chocolate covered strawberries on the Eiffel Tower." That would be like insane. You know what I mean? And
All right. Ridiculous thing. All Alright, here it goes. Alright, cool. Let's see here. Most really like we can make it happen right now. Okay. Meeting um to be on a TV show for the day, to be famous for the day.
Famous for the day. All right. Well, you'll boom, done deal. But isn't that crazy though that like that's all I had to do? And then like the worst part was even after they had given me that, they still had to come back another time. And I was like, all right, y'all, you guys are gonna have to pay me more money. And the one guy, I'll never forget this. He was like,
Make
Greg, uh,
make a direction. What are you talking about?
what? Say that again.
Were they like, we just gave you money to meet One Direction. What are you talking about?
Well, they needed to film again, and my time isn't free at this point, and I was still a little bit mad at them because of how they treated the last crew. So they brought another crew out another time, and this time I was like, just give me more money because I know what it costs to bring somebody else out. So I ended up making like $60,000 on that show. It was a crazy amount of money for what it was, but
One
um
Direction.
what the One Direction was 10 grand of it for sure.
And you met One Direction, right? Do you actually met them or did you never met
Yeah,
them?
no, I met him, but the worst part was, so this is back when I think I had a BlackBerry and my phone was dead. So the lady behind me was like, "Oh, well, I'll just take your picture because you could use your own phone." They had a professional photographer, but like you could use your own phone. And so she was like, "Oh, I'll just send it to you." And she never sent me the picture. So I don't think I've got any proof from that entire trip. I mean, I was only there for like an hour if I recall correctly. I went I don't even think I stayed for the end of the show. I got headed right back to the airport because I didn't want to miss my flight. Because it just wasn't like a big deal to me. It was like I don't care
Did you
about One
got a
Direction.
direction? Did they shake your hand? Did they sign you an autograph?
The no autograph. It was just the four of them, and it was just a quick picture. It wasn't anything like cool. It was just like a typical meet and greet, I guess you could say. Um, it was lame, but that's what I get. I wish I would have said anything else. Truthfully, I mean, what's your dream? What's your other dream? I don't know.
Should have been like, I want to go to Mexico with my blue Speedo.
Like they would have believed that. Yeah. Um,
Do
yeah.
you still rock blue Speedo? Does it still fit?
I have 3 of them, yes, and, actually, there's a pretty the coolest place I ever wore that I call it my lucky blue Speedo, but, the coolest place I ever wore it was, I got
Like
invited
mansion.
to a Super Bowl party at the Playboy Mansion, and that was probably the last time I wore it.
Never wore it again, right?
It's in my closet, I've got, like, 3 of them, but, Ohio conservative, there's not a lot of people wearing Speedos. I went on a cruise ship, and I was messing with my family, and I wore it there just to embarrass them, but other than that, no, no, no.
Well, Greg, just talking to you today has been one of my dreams. So you made one of them come true today. Thank you. Even though
Well,
we weren't talking Fiverr, I'm sorry.
no, no, it's all good. I appreciate time is the most valuable thing you can give somebody, and I appreciate you giving me your time, and I got to
Oh, you're
reminisce a
welcome.
little bit. So that was fun. That was
You're
fun.
welcome. I know there's no one watching you, but I hope that for the people that were watching, hopefully I was entertaining. I think this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah.
closest I'm gonna get to being on the big screen or the smalls. Like this is as close as I can get as of right
You never
now.
know where life will take you. I promise. You never
All
know.
right.
Life happens in the strangest ways. So
I don't wanna be famous. I don't wanna be on the big screen. And if I am for the day, I like to be my own person.
you know what I tell people? Everybody should own a Lamborghini once just so they know they don't need it. Everybody should feel fame once just so they know they don't need it. And even though like I promise I have fun with it, it's not Justin Bieber fame where it's so annoying you can't go anywhere. So I do have fun with it, but I don't need it. And that's the difference. If you need it, that's a problem. You know what I mean? Because it's because something else is lacking in your life. So I don't need it. I don't need the attention. I don't need any of the fame, but I've definitely had fun with it and I'll continue to have fun with it. So if you
Yeah.
only remember 3 words I say, remember this, Sebastian.
Living that dream.
Live your dreams, buddy.
Your dream. I
Mess
think for me it would be because last year I always said this. For me, like you have living the dream, you have your special quote. For me is I'm an all-star.
I'm an all-star. I like that. I like that. I'm an all-star. Yeah. I like that. I don't
Yeah,
know about
even
the manifesting thing, but I like putting it out there. It's a positive message. Anybody that sees you wearing a shirt that says I'm an all-star, it's got a positive connotation to it. You know what I mean? Like I think you need to I don't If I could make you one, I'd make you one that says I'm an all-star, but unfortunately, all mine just say living the dream on
Oh, I
them.
don't care. I'd rather have a living the dream shirt from Greg.
Oh, well,
Um,
that's very kind of you. Well, send me your information on Instagram. I'll get it out to you.
all right.
And are you on
And you know,
Facebook too, or
I am.
just Instagram?
I'm on Facebook, but I don't like to use Facebook. I'm mostly on Instagram now these days, even though I don't really post much on Instagram. But also too, like even though you're manifesting getting into Survivor, which I really do hope that they cast you,
I appreciate that. I
I
want
will
closure so bad.
I want closure too,
Uh,
so badly on my dream. And you know what? You traveled across the world, the state to get on the show. You had this thing, and I want to tell you too. Like I had somebody, I know the casting director haunted you with some words.
yeah,
Only one I've been haunted. I've unfortunately have been haunted with some strong words myself from a flight attendant who does job coaching and other stuff. And she was actually on a reality TV show, one of my favorites. And you know what?
okay.
She told me she wouldn't work with me, and that just really haunted me. And after she said, like, you know what? I don't see it. Like, maybe you should try something else because it's not working out for you. Those words really haunted me from that woman. And I kid you not, just like you, I still persevere to where I want to be to get accepted for another training, and luckily enough, I did. But unfortunately, my story didn't come to a happy ending. I still didn't get in to my dream. But you know what? I'm not giving up, and no one
Yeah,
can give up on anything. And after that, after what she said to me, fortunately, she blocked me because I told her that I didn't give up. And you should never. And if you're a job coach, what kind of job coach or what kind of life coach does that? Tell someone to
yeah,
go something else. Yes, go look for something else, but still do what you want to do.
yeah, yeah. Well, I can't wait to once you get your thing, you're gonna fly. At some point, you will fly into CVG in Cincinnati, and then you'll come to one of my Zumba classes, and then it'll all come full circle. How's that?
It will, and a giant hug is waiting for you, dude.
You're the man.
All right, well, thank you so
All right.
much. You made
Yes.
my evening, and we won't give up because we're living the dream and we are all stars.
Amen. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
See you, Sebastian.